Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. A small midday live stream, basically. A small midday live stream. And basically, with Arsenal being out of action, everything pretty much being solely almost focused on international duty. I don't know whether it's just PR or something is happening once again, but I'm seeing more and more talks about the fact that Mikel Arteta is the best thing since sliced bread. Let's be real. Mikel Arteta is the best thing since sliced bread. That's what they have been talking about. And obviously, to counter that, Emmanuel Petit has spoken on Mikel Arteta. He has said what he has to say, and we're gonna definitely talk about that. I'm sorry about the light. I can't do anything about it, unfortunately, so it is what it is. Because it's ruining my camera, and I really hate that, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about what Petit has to say. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Kroenke, we're gonna talk about Arteta in general, and all this stuff. It's not gonna be a long stream, about half an hour, 40 minutes, something small to discuss the ongoing situation. I have quite a few notes written down to talk about, so there is some stuff to get through. Let's just put it that way. There is some stuff to get through. So, if you're new around here, of course, subscribe, smash the like button, and leave your thoughts in the live chat. And basically, what we're gonna kick things off is basically what Emmanuel Petit has said about Mikel Arteta, and that's basically everything what all is gonna revolve around. Now, I'm gonna check something if I can fix this, because if I cannot, it really is gonna piss me off, I'm not gonna lie. I have to do it like this, and it's really bothering me. Unfortunately. Yeah, I cannot fix it, unfortunately. But yeah, basically, Emmanuel Petit, he has spoken on Mikel Arteta, he has talked about him, and he has said that in his mind, Mikel Arteta's time at Arsenal is coming to an end. Which I completely agree with him, I'm not gonna lie. Mikel Arteta looks tired and frustrated, you can see it on his face. He has anger in his eyes in the space of weeks. And that has been quite a bit of true. Arsenal lost the plot in the Premier League, having been fighting with Liverpool. The West Ham game at home looked difficult to accept for him, and that also is one of the biggest reasons why, and that's one of the biggest cases, because Arsenal tend to, against these teams they should be beating easily, they tend to fold like piece of paper, and that is nothing else than Mikel Arteta, let's be real. Obviously some fault on players, but it's Mikel Arteta, because we play the same way every single game, and there is no adjustments, no tactical changes. Only thing that's keeping us alive is the fact that we have actually a somewhat quality squad. I'm just gonna say it that way. We have quite good quality of a squad. Now, one thing. Let me try and fix the camera, because it's really bugging me that this goddamn light is kind of doing my streaming and my camera in. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm very sorry if it looks hella weird, but I'm gonna try and fix this. So, how do we look? Oh, we look much better. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, he's going into his 6th full season as Arsenal manager. He has improved a lot, and he has full respect as to do his staff. The identity and the mentality have been transformed, the DNA on and off the pitch. I think Mikel for what he has done, but I thank Mikel what he's done, and to be honest, he has done a good job to a certain extent. Let's be real, we cannot deny that. We cannot say that he has done a crappy job, because he has done actually some good stuff here. There's no denying that. The issue is what's gonna follow what Emmanuel Petit said about him. But we are reaching the end of his story at Arsenal. The energy is no longer there, and something is missing through no fault of his own. I think it's down to lack of the right squad to do what he wants to do. And there is something I disagree upon. It is through Mikel Arteta's fault, because he has been given the money, he has been in the correct spots, and he just hasn't done the right thing. That is the biggest issue. He says in interviews, on paper, like politician, all the right things, but obviously the actions speak louder than words. And unfortunately, his actions are a massive liability, and they don't do nothing, and they don't prove anything. Let's be real. Look at when William Saliba was missing in the title race. When it gets down to these pivotal moments, they lack the options. The story keeps on repeating itself, and that has been pretty much in the last 4 seasons. Even when we finished 5th instead of 4th as well, it was the same story. We always manage to screw ourselves over, and always our fan base finds a random excuse just to basically not accept everything pound per pound, but just to basically paint it with dandies and roses and all that stuff, just to keep everyone happy. And I won't I won't point the finger at Arteta. The staff have improved collectively, but fighting to be a champion, you need the tools to do it. The depth and the quality are not the right, despite the chances to make it right. It looks like history will keep repeating itself, and that is one of the biggest issues overall with Arteta that I have, and that I'm not, and obviously that includes in itself the wrong signings, saying that he wants to maximize every single window, but when it comes to transfer window, he doesn't maximize anything, only uses maxi pads when cries in interviews and everything, or rushes out of an interview, obviously. But yeah, he does the same thing, same tactics, no adjustments, and it's going in a circle. It generally is going in a circle. It happened 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, it's happening this year as well. And pretty much it's a definition of insanity of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's what Arsenal are. Patrice Evra said as well, Arsenal are like Netflix FC, there's always next season. And the hope is the next season something will change and stuff like that. And it hasn't changed anything. And now with the new sporting director coming in, Andrea Berta, the biggest question is, where does Mikel Arteta's future lie with this? And where do Kroenkes come into play with all of this? Because Arteta has, after this season, 2 years left. He's still 2027, right? Obviously, Saliba and all these people have contracts as well, but I'm talking about Arteta here, not our players. And one of the biggest things about managers is, predominantly, when you look at things, managers tend to get sacked when they have about a year left in their contract. More often than not, you can see if manager gets sacked, he usually has 1 year left on his contract, unless it's Chelsea or someone like that, obviously. So it looks like, on the paper at least, Mikel Arteta will have one more season. He will have one window, well, 2 windows, technically if you count January window, with Andrea Berta. And this is where Andrea Berta and Kroenke come in. Because the way Andrea Berta is doing, the way he does things, it looks like Kroenke are building for the long-term future and for the future without Mikel Arteta, based on these things. Obviously, I expect Mikel Arteta to be here for the next season, but if it starts to go south real quick next season, everything is gonna fall apart and he will go. He will be gone by even mid-season potentially. So that is now the big question, how it's gonna happen and where it's gonna happen. So at the moment, obviously that is in the air, and that for me is the biggest question. Where do Kroenke and Berta come in with this? Because I think Andrea Berta will be long-term here. When Arteta will be gone and Berta will be here. And I think Kroenke most likely will give him the summer window with Andrea Berta. And I assume that they will also back Andrea Berta, because that caliber of the sporting director of signing someone like that, you don't do that unless you can guarantee him some stuff. Let's be real. You have to guarantee him either it's the money you spend, either control and stuff like that. And Andrea Berta knows how to maximize the windows. Arsenal are in desperate need for about 6-7 players. We are also in desperate need to get rid of about 6-7 players. So definitely there is massive job cut out for him. But speaking of Kroenke and Berta, it looks like Kroenke are building for the long-term future. Basically without Mikel Arteta. Now, whether that entails maybe after a year when Arteta most likely is going to go, because it does look like under him we're going to win anything, Simeone or Inzaghi or someone like that, obviously time only will tell. Because to some extent, yes, the future now lies with Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta, but the fact that we are getting new sporting director, like a proper sporting director, not like some washed up wannabe waste bag, basically, right? It means that the manager also cannot be some washed up waste bag. And that is where Mikel Arteta is under massive scrutiny. Because top Gunners can scream as much as they want that Kroenke haven't backed him, but they have. 800 million is more than enough to sign the necessary players. Let's be real. On top of that, he has had numerous windows, endless chances to sign the necessary players. To sign the strikers, proper 8, proper wingers and everything, and he has done none of that. He has predominantly spent all the money on defense and goalkeeping. And obviously, let's be real, our defense is very solid, best defense in the league at the moment for the second straight year. So definitely there is something to it. But defense is not enough. You need attack as well. An attack position has been completely neglected in that regard. And that for me is a big, big worry. No matter how much Arteta screams he wants to maximize every single goddamn window, he hasn't done it. Let's be real. For me, I don't care what you pretty much say in interviews. It just gets on my nerves, the fact that when I see what you say in interviews, for me actions speak louder than words, and you don't do anything. And that what gets on my nerves, and that's why I'm calling this stuff out, and that's why I'm Arteta out on a massive, massive level. Let's be real. So it is what it is, because let's be like, how to explain this? The 2 years is a massive deal for Arteta. 2 years, I think he's gonna get given 115 million a year. He's not gonna walk away from that. Also, let's be honest with ourselves. Unless someone really steps on his toes and he decides to leave on his own, there's nothing gonna happen with that. But biggest thing is, fan base is a massive fault as well to this, because they are the ones that keep Arteta at the job to some extent. Because Arsenal have social media teams that scour YouTube, scour Twitter, scour Reddit, scour, I don't know, LinkedIn and TikTok and places like that, Instagram, and they see what people say about Arsenal. They see the transfer rumors, they see the clips, they see everything, they see the videos, they see the tiles, and they know what we think. They see what we say, and they know that still a big, big majority of the Arsenal fan base is Arteta ins, obviously. And the people who are Arteta out are a massive, massive minority. Let's be real. Massive, massive minority to this extent. And the question is, will it change? Will that change? Because you can go with excuses thus far until eventually truth catches up with you. Let's be real, you can lie as much as you want to yourself, to somebody else, but sooner or later, the truth will come out. And that's what it is with, in my opinion, with the top Gunners. Because you cannot sit here in your right mindset, 21 years without Premier League, 32 years without Carabao Cup, and 5 years without any trophy pretty much whatsoever. Since the COVID times, basically, sit here with open mind and say, Arteta is the right man from the job. When you're sitting here and looking at Newcastle, who just won a trophy, first one in 50 plus years, then you, 70 years if I'm not mistaken even. Then you look at Manchester United, who pretty much everyone is laughing at, but in the last 2 years they have won 2 trophies. How long will this last? How long? Because we get told that this team is good enough to win. We haven't done it. This team is in a prime position to win the league once Pep falls off, once Man City falls off or Pep leaves. It has happened, we still are not good enough. And last year at this stage we were on the level points, on 64 points if I'm not mistaken, with Liverpool. And currently they are 10 points above. So basically it's about 12 point swing. 12 point swing overall. And to have such a massive drop off in the span of 1 year, when technically you have a better defense and better midfield, is laughable. It's a sackable offense. And alone it is embarrassing. And people still say that Arteta hasn't been backed. He has 750, nearly 800 million. And he hasn't signed a striker. He has had chances to sign strikers. No, insane amount of chances. Let's be real. The strikers that have moved since Arteta has been here is actually insane. Just think about it. Sam Abraham, Darwin Nunez, obviously these two maybe are not the best examples, but still they're strikers, they're opportunities we didn't take a chance on. Of course, there's Osimhen, Gyökeres, Haaland, let's be real, Dovbyk, Morata, even Marcus Thuram was moving at the time, and everything. There have been insane amount of strikers, Watkins, Tony. There are insane amount of strikers that have moved, we were linked with, and we didn't sign any of them. Especially since we binned off Aubameyang 3 years ago. We haven't signed a proper striker since we signed Aubameyang, and that was 7+ years ago. So what are we really doing here? And people want to tell me Arteta hasn't been back. He has. There's a big difference on how you spend the money you get given. Because if my washing machine is broken, right? And I go, and I'm not gonna go and buy something from Craigslist, from second-hand pawn shop, or something like that. I'm not gonna go and buy a washing machine there. Let's be real. If you buy cheap, you buy twice. That's the saying. And Arsenal are doing that. They're going to Poundland, basically. And they're signing your Calafioris, your Merinos, Zinchenkos, Havertzes, Vieiras, Kiviors, players like that. Tomiyasu even to some extent. They're signing these type of players and then they're complaining they're not good enough. That is the case at the moment. Because I'm not gonna, if my washing machine is broken, let's just say my washing machine is my striker. I'm not gonna go, basically, to Craigslist, to Poundland, to Pawn Shop, and buy second-hand washing machine, aka Jesus, aka Kai Havertz. I'm not gonna go and do that, am I? I'm gonna go straight to the source, manufacturer, or the big electronics supplier store and buy a fresh new one. Yes, I will spend pretty much 200, 300 euros more, right? That's a given. Let's be real. That is a given, 100%. But it comes with guarantees, insurance, quality, and guarantees. Let's be real. It comes with everything you need. That it's gonna work, and if you can change it, you can return it. Well, not maybe return, but you can fix it. Since you have insurance on that, the mechanic will come and fix it to your house for a year or two. Depends on how long is the insurance and everything. It's all gonna work out. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's all gonna work out. I'm gonna be happy. Yes, I spent more, but I'm not. It's not gonna be a situation where it breaks down. Let's just say in a month, and I have to buy a new one. And when I buy two times this cheap one, I will have spent the same amount, if not more, than I bought the new one. It makes zero sense, and Arsenal been doing that every single year, especially under Mikel Arteta. Think about it. No striker since Aubameyang. We signed Jesus and Havertz. Second-hand players. We need a number 10. We signed Vieira, second-hand player. Marquinhos, why is he even here? Tomiyasu, Kivior, second-hand players. We signed Merino, second-hand player. Like, what are we doing here? Seriously. Long term, it's never gonna be sustainable. It's not, at many times, it's not about the amount of money you get. It's how you spend the money you get. And it's pretty much evident that Arteta has been given enough money. He just has to spend it properly. And that is what it comes down at the end of the day. Because if you want to tell me that in 3 years, he hasn't had a chance or opportunity to sign a striker, you are as blind as a bat. Even freaking Stevie Wonder can see that Arteta had the chances to sign a striker. Let's be real. These top gunners are just generally blind to the source. They care more about the manager than they care about the club. That's how it looks like from outside. Because Arteta is more protected by the fan base than the actual club. Arteta cannot do no wrong. Oh, if Arteta wants the player, I want the player. That is not the case. Let's be real. If Arteta wants Merino, it doesn't mean I want Merino. I can express my disagreements with that. The fact that I don't want him here. My opinion on him. I'm allowed to express that. Arsenal want to portray like we are a family, right? But families fight. Families argue. Families have different opinions. Let's be real. Because if there are no disagreements, it's never going to work out. If everyone's on the same page, you should be on the same page at the end of the day. But unless you have arguments, fights and everything, there will never be a chance to grow. There will be never any growth, any developments and any new ideas. And that is a big issue because this mentality that if Arteta wants the player, I want the player and everything. Arsenal lose the league to Man City in 22-23 season, yet most of the fan base asks for pictures of Win the Dog. That is pathetic and embarrassing. Josh Kroenke was in the stadium when we played Chelsea. When we won 1-0. Pathetic game, let's be real, pathetic game. Right? They showed Josh Kroenke on the big screen. Nobody was booing. Nobody was booing. If I was there, I would be booing Josh Kroenke. We didn't sign a striker. We haven't done this. We haven't done that. There are lots of things to do. How comes that doesn't happen? Oh, they painted over the mural he has outside the Emirates. He shouldn't have a mural in the first place. He's done nothing at the club. He doesn't deserve anything. Genuinely, he deserves nothing. Why is this a thing? Why certain aspects of this... Sorry. Why certain people are more protected than the club? How comes you care more about the person than the club? Like, nobody is bigger than the club. Club should be at the top. Fans are the ones that make the club, basically. Let's be real. Yes, you have the players, but if the club don't have us, we don't have... If the club doesn't have fans, the club don't have merch, they don't have sales, they don't have people watching them, they have nothing. Like, what's the point in that? And Arsenal, despite all of this PR and everything, the fact that we have won nothing, what it feels like in almost a decade. Basically, that's what it is. Because since we've moved to Emirates, we have been to Champions League final once in 20 years. Next year it will be 20 years since we moved to Emirates. Once in 20 years. We have one handful of FA Cups, no Carabao Cup for 30 plus years. We have basically done nothing. Yet we moved to Emirates to fight with the big teams. And yet this fan base has the nerve to say, give it time, protect it. It's gonna work out. Arteta is best looking Spaniard we know. He's the best man for the job. How can he be the best man for the job when he still is learning at the job? He has no idea how to win. He's played at PSG with Ronaldinho, with JJ Okocha. He's been played under Wenger, proper football. He's been coached by Pep Guardiola, and obviously under David Moyes as well he has played. Yet he has no idea how to sign a proper midfielder. Yet he has played with one of the best midfielders of all time, winger/midfielder, in Ronaldinho. He has no idea. Same goes for JJ Okocha. He's played with him. He has no idea how to sign a proper number 10, attacker, winger. How does that make sense? You're being coached by Wenger, by Pep. You have none of your own ideas how to play football. You copy-paste pretty much what Pep does. And how can you outmaster the master in his own game? Where does that make sense? In which universe the Karate Kid is gonna go to Mr. Miyagi and try and beat him up? Mr. Miyagi may have taught everything you know, but he hasn't taught everything he knows. Let's be real. It's not a surprise. And it's also not a surprise that over the last years, when Man City haven't won something, they have been beaten by a team who play completely different style of what Pep Guardiola plays. Your Klopp, Conte, and Ancelotti and managers like that. They play completely different style. Yet Arteta persists to play the same style. And obviously Pep is going to outdo him more often than not. Because Pep wrote the book on how to do it. And I don't blame Pep that Premier League standards have dropped. Premier League is so shit these days and everything. It's about the other managers who start to play like him. How comes in Championship and even in League 1 you can see teams play like Pep wants to play? Make it make sense. At least in Championship and other leagues you could see many times teams play proper English football. Even 4-4-2, crosses, corners, physical football. Or they play gegenpress and stuff like that. Now you see none of that. They try to play out from the back with players that have no ability to do that. Let's be real. You really think that someone like Asmir Begovic will be very good goalkeeper to play with the ball at his feet out from the back? Like, make it make sense. Make it genuinely make sense. This all is going as backwards and nobody's calling Arsenal out. Nobody's calling players out. Nobody's calling manager out. Nobody's calling ownership out. There is no accountability for things that get screwed up year after year at this club. That everything painted like it's fine, like it's rainbows, daisies, roses, and smells like lavender. It smells like shit, let's be real. Nothing more, nothing less. This is utterly, utterly, utterly embarrassing to say the least. And the other big issue with the fan base is not just that they back Arteta everything he does, the club can do no wrong, and they blindly follow the PR like the sheep. It feels like everyone wants to be the best fan. I support Arteta the most. I support Bukayo Saka the most. I support him the best. I'm behind him and I always support him. You know that support sometimes means tough love as well. Calling stuff out. Showing weaknesses. Calling out the weaknesses. Calling out the issues. And being the best fan doesn't mean always agreeing with everything. You need to call stuff out. There need to be disagreements. There need to be different opinions. Otherwise, genuinely, at some point we will be where Spurs and United are. Spurs and United are. We could go to that if we keep down this road. Let's be real. And the worst part is Arsenal fans, big part, laugh at Manchester United where they are 13th, 14th. Yet in over the 5 years, by the way, over the 5 years, think about it, while Mikel Arteta has been here. Arteta has 1 trophy. United have 2 and 3 finals. Ten Hag took them to 3 finals and won 2 trophies in his 2 years at United. Arteta in 5 years has gotten us 1 trophy and 1 final. 2 finals. It makes zero sense. How can this manager be back at United, just sack manager and go for a new one? Yes, they are a mess right now, but still they have one more than us. Make it make sense. How can these things fly? How these things get genuinely overlooked and get ignored by the fan base on such a high level that the club even don't have to do anything? Because social media teams from Arsenal come online, they sit on YouTube, Twitter, X, they see that everyone's basically butt kissing everything Arsenal do, Arteta does all the PR, and they don't have to do anything. They say, oh cool, amazing, we are not winning nothing, right? Yet we post record sales and the profits are going up. Why should we change? We are getting top 4, Champions League money is coming in, TV revenue is going up, new Adidas deal, not Puma deal or something like that, new Visit Rwanda deal, new Emirates deal and all this crap, right? Why should we change anything? Realty Center as well renamed the training ground. Why should we change anything? The money keeps going up. We can raise the prices, nobody complains about it. Let's be real, most of the fan base don't give a crap. As long as they can get on Ticket Exchange a ticket, or season pass, season ticket. Because even if you hand in your season ticket and don't want to go to games, there are 100,000+ people sitting in the queue to get a season ticket at Arsenal. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Genuinely make it make sense. Like, record revenues, record sales, record prices, biggest prices in Europe, and we genuinely have nothing to show for it. Return leg against PSV, by the way, the team we beat 7-1 at Eindhoven, right, was a grade A type of game where ticket cost $90. 90! For a second leg game in Champions League against PSV, where the game is pretty much a formality and you didn't have to do anything. Grade A game? Top prices? For what? It's not a coincidence that stadiums are becoming more empty. Emirates are like a library. There is no chant, no nothing. Randomly someone screams the chant, but overall there is no atmosphere. Generally it's like a graveyard half the time. If you add this football we play, if you add this manager style, no adaptation, the dead players we have, half of them, it's proof in the pudding that this manager is not good enough. His time is coming to an end. No manager if you are not failing, you don't get this rattled. You don't get this rattled to run out of interviews. You start to argue with the journalists and do this stuff. You never do. Yet Mikel Arteta does, which means his job is on the line. He has fired up his ass by Kroenke's. I can guarantee you that in the start of the stream we talked about Andrea Berta and what does his future holds for Arsenal. I think Mikel Arteta is on limited time currently. And unless he wins something in this season, and God forbid, I think he's gonna get one summer with Berta, this is an upcoming summer, and if the team starts to even dip even more during the season, he's gonna go. He has 2 years left in his contract after this season. And managers more often than not tend to get sacked before the last year or during the last year, so whatever, right? So he has at best 1 year left to win something major. And I don't need the FA Cups, Carabao Cups. Yes, I won the Cups. But at this stage, phase 6, nearly $1 billion it will be spent by the end of the summer. It's not enough anymore. It's not enough. It's Premier League, Champions League, or get the F out of the club. But people don't want to admit that. People don't want to see that. In the beginning of the season, many top Gunners were saying, this is the season we're going to win something. Even some top Gunners were saying, if we don't win Premier League or Champions League, Arteta must go. Now that we are edging towards the end of the season, oh, we have injuries, we have red cards, the referees hate us, Premier League is against us to win the league. It's not Arteta's fault we are losing these games. They don't want him sacked anymore. Oh, you have to look at the complete picture. The complete picture is we are 5 years after the FA Cup, the COVID Cup. 800 million nearly spent. And we have nothing to show for it. Yet these top Gunners, you lot, follow him like blind sheep. Like, it makes no sense. It genuinely makes no sense. And big up to Emmanuel Petit, Jens Lehmann, Thierry Henry, Arsenal legends who call this stuff out. Because most of Arsenal fans, these top gooners, Arteta sexuals and everything, say that Andre is jealous of Mikel Arteta. What, jealous of this crap? Petit is jealous. Petit doesn't know what he's talking about. Lehmann is the same. They say these things. Genuinely, they say these things. It's not their fault. They actually have an opinion. And they have a proper opinion, but because they have been there and they have done that and they have won it, pretty much everything, let's be real. Compared to Keown's and the Ian Wright and everything, who, yes, they are big players for the club, yet they have sold out. They don't call this stuff out. They say they are like top gooners. Oh, give him time. Arteta is the best man for the job and everything. Like, make it make sense. Make it make genuine sense. But hey, I'm just one man talking. I'm just toxic and negative. I should piss off down the lane and support Spurs. That's what I get told. I'm not a real fan. I'm a plastic. They don't claim me. That's what the Arsenal Arteta sexuals are saying, basically. Hey, but you live in your own dreamland. Sooner or later the penny will drop. And you can cry in your basement as much as you want then. Anyways. But yeah, I think for this to the day stream, that will be the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Maybe I will see you tonight as well. But for now, take care, stay safe, and see you very, very soon. Peace. Arteta out.